Look, I really don't know how to open up this video, so, yeah, I really love these big old bird dogs. From the moment I saw these raptors in the reveal trailer for Wilds, it was safe to say that it struck quite the strong impression. The trailer opening up on the small monsters and environments of the Windward Plains, partaking in their daily lives as we pan over the horizon, seeing the slightest bit of lightning in the distance. Then, all of a sudden, action. The aerial view into rapid side and front shots of a strange raptor creature running away from a large pack of weird bear creatures. The hunter and bird bobbing and weaving through all the herbivores, trying to outrun the creatures and storm behind them. All pretty cool so far, but then the storm gets even closer, and the bird shifts onto all fours. The sky darkened as lightning strikes, hopping and dashing between traversable branches, and then finally a shot of it gliding, landing upon a platform as the environment below shifts once more. The title and logo slowly fading in bit by bit, with the hunter and mount taking their place right beside it. Like damn, did we all just forget how cool this was for a reveal trailer? There was so much excitement in the air at the next generation of Monster Hunter, as well as so many more questions. Like, are we actually getting dynamically changing weather throughout the maps? A seamless open world? Are we getting more substantial packs in this game? How many of them can even fit on a map? And most importantly, just what the hell was that cool bird mount? You mean to tell me we have a mount to traverse these wide expansive maps that could run on all fours, jump around, and even glide through the air? Not to mention, was that a weapon holster on its side? Does that mean we may be able to hold two weapons at once throughout a quest? Over the course of the next year or two, we would slowly be fed more and more information that confirmed many of these ideas. And all throughout, we got a better look at the newly revealed Seikret and what their function in the game was, as well as the cosmetics afforded to them. None of that mattered though when the beta came out and instantly threw all that out the window because oh my god, of course there are babies!
Oh my
Oh, you monster.
Oh, it's cute.
Hey! Oh my god! Look at it! Now, obviously, it isn't as if the idea of an animal companion is anything new in Monster Hunter. The series literally started out with the feline, which still endures as a secondary mascot next to the Rathalos. You also had the Poogie, which wasn't an AI companion, but just served as a neat bit of adorableness to love and pet. Many generations later down the line tried their hands as well of creating either a new pet or some kind of AI companion. Try and Free Ultimate introduced the Shakalakas, Cha-Cha, and Kayamba. Generations had Mufi in Burna Village, and Arise introduced the Palamute as an AI companion plus mount, plus technically the Kahoots for the camera function, or to explain why you could spot monsters on the map at all times. If we want to include other parts of the franchise, Frontier did also introduce the Hawks as an AI companion quite early on. And yeah, gotta say, I do quite like them too. Plus, with a franchise as varied as Monster Hunter, it's no surprise that there would be plenty of creatures designed for marketability. They may not be Pokemon per se in terms of the sheer strength of their merchandising, but there is still quite a bit to go around. The Seikret, by all accounts, was nothing new, and yet I found that it hit a special sweet spot that no other animal companion in the series had. You may call it the Chocobo of Monster Hunter, and damn it, you're not wrong, but the Chocobo is an iconic design for a reason, and the Seikret following in its footsteps isn't a bad idea. It gives a positive feeling just by association for people familiar with Final Fantasy, and the extra little touches the creature has as unique to Monster Hunter adds a lot. The arms that curl up when non-full sprint or glide are probably the coolest detail, giving the Seikret an extremely unique stance combined with the bright plumage. Speaking of plumage, I really liked fine-tuning the Seikret to be personal to you as a hunter. The name, the color with the skin, inner feathers, outer feathers, stripes, and opacity, it all added an extra charm but just hit me differently. I wasn't sure at first what to do with mine. I experimented a little bit with it on stream, but didn't go too deep so as to not waste time, ultimately landing on a color scheme that I can only describe as the Watermelon Jelly Rancher. Later though, I settled on a bright, cool ocean color aesthetic, and named her Azura. She is an absolute darling, and I love her to bits. It's even cooler that I get to show off that love directly through the hunter profile, letting everyone appreciate just how pretty she is, along with me and my Palico via a number of different poses. The small details like this, as well as the unique gestures you can do whether off or on your Seikret, really add to just how much they are an integral part of a squad. And you don't get another one unlike some of the other games. This is the one Seikret your character has. And that connection from the very start adds to just how personal it is to customize it, care for it, play around with it, or even see the unique end-screen animations. Now granted, some of what I've said does overlap with the traits of other companions in the past. The Palicos and Shakalakas have been featured on the guild card before. The Palamutes could help you out around the map just as much, if not more than the Seikret with its ease of control. All the companions could help you out in battle. Meanwhile, the Seikret just stands on the sidelines doing nothing. Hell, the dog does all this, has its own gear, gestures, a Velkhana costume, plus is extremely good in Rise and Sunbreak. So if I'm such a dog lover myself, then why don't I prefer the Palamutes? I don't know. Well, okay, I do actually know more of the dogs, and it's just a simple fact that I didn't really use them. In a lot of cases, if I'm not playing with a squad, I tend to go purely solo, and with the Palamutes they were also just too good, further adding on to the visual effects that were in every fight. And when you add in 3 other people with their own dogs plus some of the later fights, and yeah, I'd much rather like to understand my screen, thank you very much. By contrast, and contrary to a lot of other people's disappointments, I like the Seikrets more because they don't interfere with the hunts that drastically. It helps me focus on the hunt more and what is going on. Plus, considering some of people's complaints about the game with its difficulty, I can't imagine how much worse that might be if the Seikrets actually did help. More than any of that, however, at the end of the day, I enjoy the Seikret for being a living, breathing creature, a thinking companion at the end of the day. Which is a really odd thing for me to say because, broadly speaking, I am generally a gameplay and enjoyment person over realism. Whenever I've heard people talk about, say, The Last Guardian and Trico, I always found it such a weird idea of how unresponsive and random he is. Like, how do people enjoy having their time being wasted because the creature that you need to rely on for puzzles either didn't see your command or didn't acknowledge it? That just seems anti-fun. But I think I understand a little bit of an ideology now with the Seikrets. Yes, the Seikrets can be a little tricky to control. Yes, you gotta change some settings if you want some more freedom. Yes, a Seikret could be a little hard to stop or start with running. But as with a lot of the environments and creatures, I think bits of that adds to the charm of a Seikret for me personally. I prefer that the Seikret has a bit of travel distance when you call for it to pick you up. It makes getting up less of a get out of jail free card. I like that the Seikret has a real sense of momentum and inertia, how it takes time to speed up or slow down. Even in terms of controls, I just use up on the D-pad to call it, and R1 to sprint, having so far faced none of the problems other people have had. And I think if you treat it less like the Palamutes, less like a perfect video game function, and more like an entity in the world that adds to the overall setting with an open mind, you might enjoy it more. That said, if you don't like the Seikrets or the babies, we can't be friends anymore.